Welcome to another episode of Rewind, a closer look. Today we're talking about Stone Cold. No, not the wrestler guy. I mean the movie Stone Cold.
Can't tell me what to do.
But neither do the bad guys.
No, not that random Tom Selleck TV flick either. I'm talking Stone Cold, the biker shootout, mullet-powered, explosion-filled masterpiece starring Brian "the Boz" Bosworth. This film is a full-throttle blast of 90s excess, guns, bikes, chaos, and more testosterone than your local GNC. It's loud, it's ridiculous, and honestly, it might just be the best B-action movie ever made. And at the center of it all is Brian Bosworth, in his first and best movie role, better known as the Boz, was already larger than life before Hollywood came calling. A college football legend at the University of Oklahoma, he was a two-time Butkus Award winner and one of the most hyped players of the 80s. Drafted by the Seattle Seahawks in 1987 with an $11 million contract, his NFL career was cut short by injuries after just 3 seasons. But the Boz wasn't just known for football. He was a walking headline with bleach blonde hair, flashy style, and a cocky attitude that made him unforgettable. When football ended, Hollywood got its perfect action hero. Stone Cold was his first and best movie role, where the same charisma that made him infamous on the field translated perfectly on screen. With his mullet and his tough-as-nails swagger, the Boz knew he was cool, and Stone Cold makes sure you know it too. The movie kicks off with a grocery store robbery, guys with full-auto weapons spraying bullets everywhere like they're in a war zone instead of aisle 5, and right in the middle of this chaos, our hero Joe Huff. He's just trying to shop in his sick mullet and alligator skin trench coat when the shooting starts. What the robbers don't realize is that the Boz isn't just some bystander. He's a cop on suspension, which means he's got the skills to handle the situation and nothing better to do. He dispatches the robbers one by one with effortless style. One gets smashed into a glass cooler, another goes down just as quick, and the leader ends up holding a little girl hostage. Boz tosses a can across the aisle, tricks the guy into wasting all his ammo, and then as he tries to flee, the robber hilariously slips on a puddle of cooking oil like it's a Looney Tunes gag. The Boz saves the day, drops a perfectly cheesy one-liner,
You gotta clean up on aisle 4.
and struts off like the suspended cop legend he is. Smash cut to the Brotherhood, a biker gang riding into frame like a heavy metal thunderstorm. These guys are crazy right out of the gate, shooting beer cans off each other's shoulders with full auto rifles just for fun. Here we meet Ice, the gang's sergeant-at-arms played by William Forsythe. Forsythe is a B-movie powerhouse. You've seen him in Out for Justice, Raising Arizona, and The Rock. Here he's unhinged, sweaty, and absolutely perfect as the wildcard biker who doesn't trust the new guy. Not long after, we're introduced to the gang's leader, Chains, played by the one and only Lance Henriksen. This man has been in Aliens, Near Dark, Pumpkinhead, basically every genre classic from the 80s and 90s. Henriksen absolutely devours the screen as Chains, a charismatic, ruthless biker messiah who can switch from calm speeches to cold-blooded violence in a heartbeat. His introduction comes right after one of his men guns down a priest during a baptism. Why? The movie never says. But that senseless act is what lands the bald biker in court, where he's sentenced to 45 years in prison.
I hereby sentence you to 45 years.
That's the spark that sets Chains off. His whole crusade against the system is basically built around avenging a guy we barely even know. So when the judge who handed down that sentence goes out fishing, Chains and his Brotherhood blow up the man's boat in retaliation. The movie's plot spins out from a priest murder we never get context for and a biker we know nothing about. But Henriksen sells it with sheer intensity, making you believe Chains would burn the whole world down for one of his guys. Meanwhile, Boz is back home in his loft apartment, making a smoothie and feeding it to his giant pet lizard, because of course he owns a giant lizard. That's when the FBI barges in to blackmail him into going undercover with the Brotherhood.
We want you to go undercover inside the Brotherhood.
They stick him with a Fed partner, Lance, played by Sam McMurray. You've probably seen him pop up in cult favorites like Chud or comedies like Christmas Vacation. Here he's the classic uptight by-the-book agent, basically the total opposite of the Boz. Their first stop on the mission? A strip club called Tit for Tat. Yes, that is really the name. Cinema doesn't get better than this. Inside Tit for Tat, the Brotherhood's favorite hangout, Boz spots Ice and figures the quickest way to get noticed is to stir things up. He goes upstairs, starts mouthing off to Ice, and just as the tension is about to boil over, a full-on brawl erupts downstairs. Perfect timing. The Boz dives in, tossing bikers like lawn darts. At one point, he literally picks up a guy and hurls him over the bar like he's auditioning for the WWE. Glass shatters, fists fly, and by the end of it, Boz has made enough of an impression to score himself an invite to the next Brotherhood rally, even if Ice still isn't quite sold on him yet. At the rally, the Boz immediately drag races Ice and wins, but biker respect isn't earned with just speed, it's earned with fists. His next test is a bare-knuckle slugfest against a massive bruiser. The rules: just stand there and trade face shots until someone drops. Luckily, the Boz is built like a linebacker. Oh, that's right, he was one. So he wins easily, and that's when he finally meets the top dog himself, Chains. Back at the Brotherhood compound, Chains and Ice are glued to the TV. The district attorney is on the news, talking tough about the judge's murder and vowing to push for the biker's 45-year prison sentence to be upgraded to the death penalty. He even brags about how once he's elected governor, he'll wipe out biker gangs for good. That's the last straw for Chains. Now he's got two missions: bust his brother out of prison and assassinate the DA. Enter the Boz, strolling into the compound like he's dropping off a pizza. Only instead of a pie, he's carrying a bulletproof vest as a gift for Chains. And Chains, being Chains, immediately tests it by shooting the Boz point blank in the chest. The Boz goes down, pops back up, and power slams him straight into the dirt. Instead of being angry, Chains loves it. He laughs, dusts himself off, and makes Boz a prospect in the Brotherhood.
You got balls of steel, Stone. You want to prospect with the Brotherhood?
Ice, on the other hand, is fuming. You can practically see the jealousy steaming off him. Boz's first official Brotherhood assignment is straight out of a horror movie. Chains orders him to cut off a guy's ear and bring it back as proof. Boz tracks the guy down at a nightclub, smashes his face into the bar for good measure, and carries him out like a sack of laundry. But instead of carving him up, the Boz pulls a fast one, and with the FBI's help, they stash the guy in custody, swipe an ear from the morgue, and even tattoo it to match. When Boz delivers the evidence, Chains is impressed, and just like that, our mullet-sporting hero climbs even higher in the gang's trust. Soon, Chains puts Boz in charge of collections, and the job turns bloody fast. Boz and a biker named Tool make their rounds until the mob intervenes. A hand grenade takes Tool out in brutal fashion, sending him crashing through a storefront window in a scene that looks like it hurt way too much. The mobsters then try to rob Chains' girlfriend, Nancy, but the Boz leaps onto their car like an action figure come to life. The getaway ends in a huge crash. Boz pummels the mobsters, but they still escape with the money. Later, the gang visits Tool in the hospital, where the makeup department goes wild. Burnt skin, scars, and tubes everywhere. It's gruesome, and it makes Chains even angrier. The Boz moves deeper into Chains' inner circle by dangling a new opportunity: a shipment of P2P, the biker's drug of choice. He plays it like he's lining up a score, but in reality it's part of the FBI's sting. Chains takes the bait and arranges a sit-down with the mob to sell the drugs, which leads to one of the wildest B-movie flexes ever. Chains and the Boz stroll into a fancy restaurant carrying a box containing motorcycle helmet, and inside isn't a gift, but the severed head of the mobster who blew up their buddy Tool. They flip up the visor for the stylish reveal. The best part? Even though his gang just decapitated one of their business partners after trying to kill Tool, Chains still pushes ahead with the deal to move the P2P through the very same mob family. All's fair in crime and business, I guess. It makes zero sense in real-world economics, but in Stone Cold, it's just another reason this movie absolutely rules. Soon cracks in the Brotherhood start to show. Chains kills 2 National Guardsmen just for being in his way, shoves another biker's fingers into his spinning motorcycle wheel for questioning him, leaves Nancy disgusted. She vents to Boz, hinting at the gang's big plan, D-Day. She even makes out with Boz after he promises she could escape with him, proving that, yes, mullets are still powerful weapons. Things nearly collapse when Ice follows the Boz to a secret FBI meeting. Ice opens fire but misses every shot. Looks like he only has perfect aim for beer cans. The Boz knows he can't let Ice expose him, so we get a high-speed bike chase with bullets, explosions, and cop cars flying everywhere. It ends with Ice plowing head-on into a car in a fiery death worthy of his attitude problem. Crisis averted, at least for now. The P2P deal goes down at the loading docks. The Brotherhood is waiting with the Boz when the truck pulls up, driven by an FBI plant. To sell his cover, Boz stages a fake confrontation with the driver, arguing over money until the guy pulls a gun. Without hesitation, Boz shoots him point blank. The bikers buy it, thinking Boz just proved his loyalty. In reality, it's all part of the setup, and the dead driver walks away fine once the act is over. The Boz and Chain's girlfriend Nancy climb into the truck with the shipment, while the rest of the bikers roar off on their Harleys. But instead of heading to the sting location where the FBI is waiting, Chains reroutes the truck. Lance radios Boz, confused, not realizing Nancy is right there in the cab with him. She immediately flips out, and suddenly the whole plan is hanging by a thread.
You're a cop. You're a fucking pig!
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Flashback.
Look at me. Look right at me. Tell me you're not a cop.
You're out of my cop.
End of flashback.
Anyway, Boz scrambles to calm her down, promising her immunity, protection, a new life if she flips on Chains. But she doesn't commit. We're left hanging, unsure if Nancy's about to save Boz or doom him. At the new location, Boz plays it cool. He jumps out of the truck, confronts Chains about the last-minute detour, and gets the classic biker answer, "Because I'm the boss." Chains tries to hand Boz his cut, but Boz stalls, saying they'll settle later, and rides off.
Get off my horse.
Back with the FBI, he admits Chains pulled a switch, and now the Brotherhood has the drugs. Worse, he overheard the phrase, "crack the whip," meaning the gang plans to assassinate District Attorney Whippet. The mission splits. Lance heads to try to protect the DA, while the Boz goes after the truck. He catches up on his bike and demands they pull over. The bikers laugh him off, so Boz takes matters into his own hands. He shoots the trailer loose from the rig. It careens into a gas station, erupting in a massive fireball. Back at the Brotherhood compound, the walls close in on the Boz. Chains suddenly calls him by his real name, Joe Huff. And for a moment, it seems like Nancy gave him up. But then the real twist drops. The guy from the beginning, the ear-cutting target Boz was supposed to kill, has somehow escaped FBI custody and told Chains everything. The Brotherhood drags him in as proof, sealing Boz's cover story shut.
Hola, amigo.
In a brutal reversal, Chains turns the tables. He kills the snitch on the spot, sparing Boz, but only so he can use him. And then, in one of the movie's coldest gut punches, Chains casually shoots Nancy in the head right in front of Boz. No hesitation, no remorse. It's shocking, savage, and it resets the stakes.
I want to break your heart.
The Brotherhood's big plan? Attack the courthouse during the resentencing of their imprisoned brother. They're going to rescue him, kill the DA, and, oh yeah, strap a bomb to the boss and drop him out of a helicopter onto the building like some mulleted missile. Subtlety is not their strong suit. Chains sneaks inside disguised as a priest, calmly blending into the audience as the trial begins. Meanwhile, the boss is being flown overhead in a chopper, strapped with enough explosives to level the block. But the boss has other ideas. He breaks free mid-flight, fights off one of the bikers, and at the last second slaps the bomb on the poor guy's chest before drop-kicking him out of the helicopter. Boom. Problem solved, boss style. Inside, all hell breaks loose. Chains pulls a gun and starts shooting as the Brotherhood storms the courthouse in full force. They back a truck up, roll their bikes out the back, and ride straight through the courthouse windows. Because why wouldn't they? They're bikers. It's basically their thing. Chains gets the DA dead to rights and lights him up after some smug banter. Meanwhile, outside, Boz and the helicopter pilot pull off some incredible low-flying stunt work before the boss decides, screw it, and straight up jumps out of the helicopter. From 50 feet up, he crashes through a skylight and lands in the courthouse hallway, completely unhurt because physics don't apply when you've got a mullet that powerful. From there, it's pure chaos. The boss blasts the escaped convict and his driver off a motorcycle, turning them into a fireball. He finds Mudfish, the same biker Arnold roughed up in Terminator 2.
I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
You forgot to say please.
And sends him flying out a window with a shotgun blast onto a car roof below. Another flawless stunt. And then, the showdown. Chains rounds a hallway corner facing Boz at the end of a long corridor with a giant window behind him. Chains sends the biker screaming down the hall full throttle. Boz shoots him, sidesteps, and the bike launches straight out the window, colliding with the helicopters still buzzing outside. It's one of the most jaw-dropping, over-the-top stunts in B-action history. Pure chef's kiss.
So good and tasty.
Chains uses the chaos to make a run for it, but the boss finally corners him inside the courthouse. The two throw down hard, fists flying, with Boz absolutely dominating. One last crushing punch sends Chains tumbling down a massive flight of stairs. Beaten and crawling, Chains is hauled up by the cops just as the FBI swoops in. The FBI starts congratulating the boss, but of course Chains isn't done. He snatches a gun from one of the officers and lines up a shot at Boz. Before he can pull the trigger, Lance takes him down from across the room, a total Carl Winslow moment straight out of Die Hard. With Chains dead and the courthouse secure, the movie ends the only way it could. Heavy metal blaring, the boss walking out covered in blood and sweat, clothes shredded, not saying a word. One long take as he pushes past cops, paramedics, National Guard, and keeps going down the street. Stone Cold is pure testosterone cinema, explosions, biker mayhem, courtroom shootouts, helicopters crashing, and Brian Bosworth walking away from it all like an action demigod. Lance Henriksen and William Forsythe chew the scenery as Chains and Ice, giving us some of the best villains of the era. But it's the boss who makes this movie legendary. He's got the mullet, the swagger, the football player physique, and the one-liners to back it up. He looks like B.J. Blazkowicz from Wolfenstein come to life, and Stone Cold is his masterpiece. Thanks for watching another episode of Rewind, a closer look. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, be kind. Rewind.
You know, at a moment like this, I think of my father's last words, which were, "Don't, son, that gun is loaded."